guys, welcome to the first of a new series of videos I'm going to be doing. It is the Patreon Q&A. The way this is going to work is if you are on a certain tier of the Patreon campaign, you're going to have the opportunity to submit a question that I will answer on this series that's going to air on the YouTube channel once a month. So jumping right into it, the very first question is coming from Steven, who writes to me, "What is your guilty pleasure besides Power Rangers and the Jurassic Park series?" So first, with a guilty pleasure, typically I give that title to movies that either suck and I really like, or movies that are just not as widely loved as some other ones out there. So I wouldn't put Jurassic Park in that category, but you know, I know some people have issues with The Lost World, and Jurassic 3 is also a different story. So maybe you can get away with that. And same with Power Rangers too. I genuinely think that that new movie is a good movie, but I know a lot of people out there don't agree. So that could be a fair guilty pleasure as well. So jumping off that idea, I'm going to say the Final Destination franchise. I know there's lots of folks out there who love this series like I do, because I've spoken to many of them, but then there's also some people who aren't so into the horror genre, and they look at that as something that was kind of piggybacking off of 90s slasher movies, and maybe not so great, not worth the time to dig into. But I gotta say, I think that 1, 2, 3, and 5 are all solid, rock solid good movies. 4 not so much, but 4 might be a pretty big guilty pleasure for me because I think the movie sucks, but when it's on, I kind of can't turn away. And it's pretty much because I think the concept behind the Final Destination movies is absolutely genius. They've come up with more and more inventive kills every single movie. And then it's also this idea of taking those kill sequences with you. I have never driven behind a truck with logs on it when I was living in New York City and I would see one of the ladders, the fire escape ladders hanging above me. I would think of the scene from Final Destination 2. No more tanning beds. If I got on a flight and the flight was numbered 180, I would probably think twice about getting on it. There's so many examples of that, which is why I love this series so much. The movies are fun to watch, and I like the lasting impression. Next question comes from Michael, who writes, "What character would you like to play in a Star Wars movie?" So this is an easy one for me, and if you've read Lost Stars, you've probably heard me talk about the character. I know some people say Sienna, some say Sienna because of the audiobook. Sienna is always a character that has greatly appealed and intrigued me because the mentality of joining the Empire as presented, especially in episodes 4, 5, and 6, it is good versus evil. If you're in the Empire, you are bad. So when I first read Lost Stars, the idea of getting me to so strongly respond to why someone might join the Empire and why it is important for someone to rise in the ranks of the Empire, and just having an understanding of what people that are part of an organization like that know and don't know is incredibly intriguing to me. And really, that is one idea that I hope the Star Wars film franchise and also canon overall explores more, is that blurry line between good versus evil and some more noble mentalities behind the evil, or at least what might drive a person like Sienna to join up, and then how she processes all that information when she comes to learn what's really going on. So that is always a character and a mind frame that's really appealed to me. So I think I would go not necessarily with her, but someone who is in a similar position to her. So next question now comes from Evan, who writes, "How do you organize and plan out your time and to-dos?" Oh boy, I wish I had a clear-cut answer for you on this one, but sadly I don't. I don't know how much this will help anyone out there looking for some time management tips, but it does come from it just being part of my nature. Ever since I was little, I was very neat and organized, and I had a calendar. I had a Filofax when I was a kid, and it was all color-coded, and I loved the thing. I actually still archive all the pages from that, and I have a little box with them all in it, which is fun to look back on. But now that has transitioned into having a very organized to-do list on my computer, and also having a digital calendar that is all color-coded that I pay attention to all the time. So I'm not a big procrastinator. I pay attention to my schedule. I have everything neatly organized. The thing I would say that I have the most challenging time with right now is just not having enough time, not having enough hours in the day to do everything I would want to, especially when it comes to doing everything I want to be fully prepared for shows that I'm on the next day. Because sometimes we talk about, let's say, the reboot of a franchise, and deep down, it'll feel necessary to me to go back and rewatch all the previous installments. And really, there's not enough time to get that kind of stuff done. So when my mind goes in that direction, I just have to figure out how to best prioritize so that I am prepared and knowledgeable as possible, but without basically losing an entire night's sleep rewatching, let's say, 4 installments of a film franchise. So I think right now, one of the things that I'm trying to figure out most is how to best prioritize the things that I want to achieve. So I hope that gives you a little bit of insight. I don't know how helpful that could all be, but it's a good thing to think about. So Evan, thanks for that question. Next one comes from Kavi. Most of the talk in the media and online around Disney's upcoming streaming service has been around Star Wars live action shows or potentially movies for the service, which is awesome. But what other IP from the Disney family or Fox family, assuming the deal goes through, would you like to see developed into streaming shows or movies for the future service besides from the Star Wars and Marvel worlds? So yeah, it does feel like we're talking a lot about Star Wars in particular when it comes to Disney streaming service, which does make a lot of sense because that is going to get a significant amount of people to sign up for that streaming service, especially for folks who already subscribe to something like, let's say, Hulu or Netflix. And I don't necessarily think tapping into existing IPs is a bad thing, but I do hope that when the streaming service launches, we get a balance between fresh original material and reinvigorating franchises like, let's say, the Honey, I Shrunk the Kids idea. That's a rumor that's been circulating, and I do think that that movie is prime for a remake right now, especially when you consider the fact that behind-the-scenes movie technology has improved vastly since that movie was made, and then also real-world technology, too, that could be applied to this story and make it even more interesting, add a new layer to it. So I like that idea. I'm also a little bummed because I feel like they're not going to explore any R-rated material. And when you bring up Fox, my mind immediately goes to Alien. And yes, I want to see Alien get some new life on this streaming service should that deal go through. I have a feeling it's not going to happen. So in order to give me the horror lover fix that I need, I'm looking at something like Haunted Mansion. That seems like something that could be primed for a reboot or maybe a television series. My mind also goes to Nightmare Before Christmas. Talk about incredible world building. There's other lands for other holidays, so why not explore something like that in an anthology series maybe? So not necessarily a straight reboot of what I consider a classic, but exploring new territory seems well worth it to me. Another idea that came to my mind is reinvigorating the Pirates franchise. Again, talk about great world building. Right now it seems like that film franchise isn't doing too hot, so why not breathe some new life into it on the streaming service, whether we're talking about a new movie or a television series? Because Jack Sparrow or not, it does seem like that landscape is so rich and well worth exploring further. So those are my ideas for some streaming service options. Hopefully we hear more updates on what Disney is working on in the very near future. I've got one more question to address, and this one comes from Berto, who writes, what does Marvel do with the Black Panther character moving forward? With all the success of the film, do they give Black Panther a little more shine or a bigger role in the Avengers films? Do they go back and do reshoots for the sole purpose of adding more Black Panther, at least on the 4th film since Infinity War is about 3 months away? And if there isn't a significant spotlight on Black Panther in the upcoming Avengers movies, will there be a backlash because of it? I am actually not concerned about this at all because I do get the feeling that Marvel would have planned for this kind of success. They're great when it comes to creating some sort of architecture where one film leads very well into another, and I feel like they would have been prepared for Black Panther to do well, people to want to see more of that character, and then include the character in the new film, especially because in that Infinity War trailer, Wakanda seemingly plays a big part in this movie. So I am assuming that Black Panther will get his time to shine there, as will some of the other characters we met in that movie and now have fallen in love with. I mean, I most certainly want to see more Shuri. I wouldn't mind seeing Winston Duke come back and have a little bit of a presence there too, but after that, I don't see them having an opportunity to add more Black Panther to the next Avengers film, and I imagine that everything has been laid out pretty clearly, and again, it goes back to what I was just saying. I do think they planned for this, so I think we're going to get enough Black Panther in Avengers 4. I'm really curious to see what happens after, because as we all know, certain contracts are winding down with Black Panther success. It would make sense to have T'Challa be a significant leader in what comes next, and I have a very good feeling that Kevin Feige and the team over at the MCU have planned for that. So really, I'm just looking forward to seeing exactly what I want to get. So those are my thoughts on these 5 questions. I hope you enjoyed this quick Q&A session. If you did and you want to join the fun, check out that link below. It'll give you all the instructions on signing up for the Patreon campaign. Everyone who submitted questions, guys, thank you so much for the continued support, for the great questions. This was a lot of fun to do. Please like and share this video and keep an eye out for next month's Patreon Q&A video.